Hi, my name's Peter Dove, founder of Master Dressage. I wanted to first thank everyone for leaving comments, sending me emails and asking me questions about the 5 steps, which was what I talked about in the previous video. It was really interesting to see how people were going to use those 5 steps to help them improve their dressage training, get more marks and get more consistent results. Back in my early 20s, I didn't have any of these kind of ideas or tools that would help me understand how to train my dressage horses. And, I had a particularly angsty relationship with my horses. The way that I was taught really was that it was the horse that was resisting, the horse that was evading the work, and I somehow had to make the horse do the work. Luckily, as I mentioned before in my previous video, I was saved by a coach by the name of Mary Wanless, who was able to teach me that it was my responsibility to learn and improve, not the horse's responsibility to do this. I had to figure out how to speak horse, and that was a really profound change for me in my thinking. Now, one of the things that someone sent me an email about was how they would be able to use the dressage sheets to actually improve their scores in the future. So come and have a look at my computer, where I've set up a statistical tool for you to be able to learn how to get more marks based on your previous results. So here is the sheet I was talking about. What I've done is down the left hand side I've written a list of all the different movements in a test. Now this is only a sample of them, but you would go through the typical tests that you're performing and fill in the sections for all the different movements. Then across the top we actually have each test that you do and the date. Underneath we have mark, comment, and so on. So your task there is to put in the mark you get and the comment you receive for each of the tests. Now this is a really interesting tool because it allows you to see very quickly where you're losing marks for which particular movements. So for instance, if we look at the 20-meter circle left, you'll see that you received a 6 each time, and one comment was losing outside shoulder and another comment is circle too big. So you can see that there's a combination of accuracy and controlling the horse's outside shoulder, and in actual fact the deep problem here is the losing outside shoulder, which is causing your circle to be too big. So in that there are several things that you could look at. First, you could look at your accuracy. Second, you could look at your understanding of the movement and your understanding of how to get the horse to do the accurate movement. And you can look at how it is that you're practicing the test. Another example here is up the center line. We've got 6 needs more suppleness and 5 losing balance on the turn. So this could be about how it is you're entering the arena, how it is you're preparing for the turn at the top. There could be a number of reasons why you're losing marks here. And again, you can look at accuracy, you can look at fluidity, you can look into your understanding of how to make a good turn. But at least with this particular spreadsheet, you'll start to see the patterns in your tests and see where you're losing marks. This is essentially the review stage. So I'm going to leave a link to this particular file at the bottom of the video so you can use it in the future. One of the things I really wanted to do in this video was bust some of the myths that are abound about dressage. The first myth that I often hear is that you need a great horse to be able to do dressage. If you're talking about Grand Prix, then this is perhaps true. You need a top class athletic horse to be able to do it. But anything from, introductory all the way up to medium level dressage, you don't need a fabulous warm blood horse. Any horse can do dressage as long as it's not physically hampered in any way. So really any horse can lift its back up, can reach into the rein, can develop balance, can develop really good paces and performance in the dressage ring. The second myth is that people often think you need a lot of experience to be able to ride dressage. Well, dressage is simply the training of yourself and the horse. So anybody can have a go at dressage, and these days there are a huge range of levels that you can compete at, right from walk and trot tests all the way up to Grand Prix. So get on your horse, have a go at the movements, go and do your first unaffiliated dressage test. You'll love it. Another myth is that you somehow need a very expensive trainer or coach who has been there, competed at the high levels. I think initially, this is actually the wrong thing to do, because often these kind of coaches are so far high up in their skill level that they've really forgotten what it's like to be you and what it's like for you to struggle with the things that you're struggling with. It often needs a coach who's been through that stage recently to be able to help you take the next step. Often the way some of these coaches teach is that they'll stand in the arena floor, watch you riding around and think, you know what, if I was riding that horse, I'd do this, or I'd do that. And they tell you, go ahead and ride shoulder in, or go ahead and do a 10-meter circle, that will balance the horse. The trouble is that whilst that will work for them, the rider who they're coaching doesn't often have the skill set to be able to achieve that. So an expensive coach isn't needed. You don't need to go and have lessons with a Grand Prix dressage rider to improve. The other myth, which I think actually is the number one problem for a lot of people coming into this sport, is the idea that you need expensive facilities in order to be able to do dressage, that you need an expensive indoor arena or an expensive outdoor arena to be able to do it. But, I've come up with a few techniques that will allow you to practice the shapes, to get a real understanding of how to do a dressage test without needing those amazing facilities. You could even do it in a field. So come along with me and have a look at what I've put together. Hi there, my name is Peter Dove, founder of Master Dressage. Today we're in our indoor arena where I'm going to show you how to use a ruler and a lunge line to accurately create the shapes that you need to learn on the ground so you can see them for real.
So at this point I've already marked out 5 meters on the length of the lunge line. I am behind the camera, stood exactly halfway between X and E. I know this as the lunge line length is 5 meters and I got Millie to stand at X. Now if your arena doesn't have markings or you're working in a field, then you can just choose a point to start drawing your circles. It helps, in the case of having a field, to set up a line of cones to use as the long side. Here a diagram shows how you could lay it out. You can see the markers creating a long side and an E to B line. Anyway, back to Millie. There she goes, and is essentially leaving a track with her feet. Let's speed her up. Because of the length of the lunge line, she is now creating a near perfect 10-meter circle. Here we are on the other side of the arena, making the other 10-meter circle. Let's rev her up again. If we pause it there, you can see how the two 10-meter circles join. Now, if I overlay circles in red, you can really see the shapes. Have a look at the box in the middle. Most people end up being straight here for too long when asked to change the rein through two half 10-meter circles. The British Dressage Rulebook says, the athlete should make his horse straight an instant before changing direction at the centre of the figure. However, notice that if the circles are correctly ridden, it should be a smooth change into the centre and out. Here we can see the finished article. Two pretty accurate 10-meter circles. This is the view from our gallery. Notice the circles don't touch the edges of the arena. This is because our arena is a little wider than 20 meters, so we usually have arena boards down the long side on competition days to narrow it. As a finishing touch, I even drew in a diameter and a radius. Notice how clearly the circle steps away from the track. Let's have a quick look at a diagram of this. This is a 20 meter by 40 meter arena representation. Let's add in the markers. All King Edward's horses carry many brave fighters. At least That's how I was taught to remember the markers. Finally, let's make a note that the distance from the ends to K, F, M and H is 6 meters. Let's add in the center line and the midline, and now finally our two 10-meter circles, and just for good luck, the 3/4 line. I hope you can see that by tying up diagrams on a screen with the effort of drawing them out on the arena floor, you will get a much greater understanding of the angles and distances involved. Finally, rounding off this subject, you can, with a large enough lunge line or rope, draw yourself 20-meter circles and 15-meter circles. A quick note on the point of me marking the FKMH being 6 meters in is that if you're asked to do a half 10-meter circle at K and incline back to the track, realize that the apex of your circle doesn't quite hit the track. Not a lot of people know that. Earlier on I mentioned in relation to circles stepping onto and stepping off the track, and here if you watch this rider Amber Woodhouse, an up-and-coming talented event rider, you can see her doing exactly that at the markers E and B.
Thanks so much for watching the video, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or would like to leave a comment, please do so in the comments box below. Also, I have a new book coming out soon called Master Dressage, and I'm going to give away a free copy to the very best video of you doing your own shapes in your own arena or field. So get out there, draw some shapes, send me a video, and you could win a copy of my book.